Jet reviews his new Sunpak pistol grip tripod. The Galaxy S2 finally has hit in the US. We break down what could be the new Amazon Kindle tablet. And Apple has won in Germany and has given Samsung the boot in all the stores around
The
there.
Apple blogger.
All this week on Gadget Gurus.
Gadget Gurus, episode 64. It's Monday, September 5th.
That worked out perfect.
That's what I planned. That's what I do here.
Jam had the original song queued up, and then he sees like Reliant K, and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
this
it's like,
is so
that
much
sounds
better."
a lot better.
Yeah. That
Which
song,
now we might not be able to put that on YouTube.
Eh.
Oh, well, whatever.
well, we'll put it
you know.
on YouTube. We'll see what happens.
Sorry, Carla, you're not going to be able to watch this.
Yeah.
No.
So, Jeff, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for
Obviously,
asking.
neither of our moods reflect what it is outside today because it's. But then
Let's
Francis.
cut to the weather.
Yeah, Ram Francis and Carlo would probably agree with me on this situation. Ram Francis was like, "Oh, it rains every day in London, pretty much." So, I guess we don't have too much to complain about. But we did need some rain around here. It hadn't rained in like what, I don't know, a month or something. So, we're getting like a major soaking outside. So on Labor Day today, we are sitting here inside all day. But I didn't have to go to school, so.
Hey, I didn't have to go to work.
So, everything's good.
But before we get started,
Yes.
let's turn on them, yeah.
Yeah.
Boom. Whoa, hey, whoa. Yeah. I thought that was the funniest thing ever when Joey was in here. And he's like, turn off them, yeah. Turn off them, yeah. Like it was
You had to start. You're like, what? And then you're like, oh, whoops, sorry. That's awesome.
Oh, gosh.
So, Jeff, you picked up a new gadget yesterday. We had originally thought that we may be doing a
Refrigerator.
a gadget that's a little bit bigger than this one, but you did pick up a new gadget. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this? Awesome.
Yeah. So, my new gadget is the Sunpak Platinum Plus 6600
PG.
PG.
Which I have.
I need to not scroll with the wrong mouse.
Oh gosh.
There we go. I got this at Best Buy, which is a local place around her, and well, not really local, but you know what I'm saying. And it's you know, halfway decent tripod. And if we come over to here, there it goes. I have one previously made.
Yeah. I actually have the demo model, the real model sitting over there.
Yeah. And this is a pistol grip tripod. And now some of you might be asking, what is a pistol grip? And I will tell you what a pistol grip is. Pistol grip is just that. It has a pistol grip. And basically, what you end up getting out of this is instant turnability and letting go. So I can turn this however I want, let it go.
Yeah.
And I can turn it sideways, whatever. And then Nick was asking a question about, well, what about if it's not set straight? Because, you know, it's infinitely movable here.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I looked at some of these or whatever, and, you know, just looking at them from a distance, I was like, well, obviously you're going to realize if it's tilted one way, you know, like tilted a little bit more to the left or something.
Yeah.
Like, you could obviously see that, but if it's like, if you didn't center it up just right, like, your video could come out crap, and you wouldn't know it until you go in and edit it or something. And
so what it has is let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 level bubbles for your leveling pleasure. And all you got to do here is you set it, and you have some on the side so you can get it there if you don't want to do it a different way. It also has one that's a circle in the middle, so you can get it perfectly leveled to the surface you're on.
Yeah.
So what you do is you have two references. You have this one and you have that one. If this one's leveled, then you know that your surface is leveled. Then you level this, it becomes really you don't really have to worry about this, because if you level this, then it's
Everything
level.
else should be
It's just,
level,
you know, it's a real easy way of leveling up your camera without actually having to, go in there and adjust feet and move this and do that. You can just turn it and it's leveled. I mean, I could literally, like, just as a example here, I can open up these feet. Okay. So I can actually see it.
And by the way, this is the 66-inch model, so it is like pretty big tripod.
Yeah, like 65 and a half.
Yeah, that's what they say.
So, like, let's say that I drop one of these legs, and so that it's noticeably off-centered. So you can't...
Whoa, that was cool.
You can't really see the bubble here, but trust me, it's not leveled.
Yeah.
So all I got to do is just level that up, and now the camera will be completely leveled, even though the tripod is not.
That's pretty cool.
And that would be very difficult to do on a regular tripod, because you're having to do this. You don't have that tilt back and forth like this. All you have is a pan. Okay, I don't think they call that tilt. They'd call that yaw or roll. I guess it'd be roll. Yeah. They don't have that roll on a tripod. You just have the tilt and pan. So you can't adjust it this way without, you don't have the bubbles, the leveling system there to be able to do it. So, I mean, I think it's a pretty good, tripod. We're going to be using this when we go to Atlanta Saturday.
Yes, for a Mini Maker Fair.
Mini Maker Fair.
Mini Maker Fair.
And it's just a really good, it's a good little, you know.
And the thing is, I mean, it depending on how you look at it, it's like in between like a cheap tripod and like a kind of a prosumer, like,
Now, the one thing that did surprise me, and I don't have a camera to mount on this, but, whatever. It actually has, if I would have thought ahead of time, I would have mounted the actual camera.
True. Oh, wow.
But I didn't. And when you turn this little lever over here, you actually are now able to, and you might not be able to see this, but you can very easily and very fluently move this, pan this tripod back and forth. So it's very smooth. It's not like, this does not have like a tighten down, I'm moving it loosely or I'm moving it tight. It's just one fluid movement, and you rotate it, and when you get it where you want it, you can leave it like that, or you can turn this back down, and you're done.
And that's something that a lot of people pay for through like Manfrotto. You know, they've got some fluid heads or whatever.
So I think it works out pretty well because of that. You could really and truly use this for that purpose, and turn that down, and you kind of just grab on the back of this and just push it around. Just hold on to that, and you're good to go. That's
one of the issues I've had. I mean, I've dealt with some pretty expensive, or not, like $150, $200 like tripods that we have at school, but of course they're the ones that you use the handle with or whatever, and they're still all herky jerky. Like, you can't. It's almost impossible unless you have a really nice, like Manfrotto, for instance, make some good ones, but it's really hard to get a good, pan or whatever. But with this thing, I mean that would be very easy. Yeah. To come from over here and just with your fingers sitting here. And that's good for landscapes, like product shots, if you're doing something. And the thing about it is, if you stop, then it gets kind of difficult to turn. Yeah. But then it has that fluid buildup where it kind of like starts moving easy again. And it has a pretty. I mean, I'm pushing it kind of hard, and you can see it doesn't jerk or anything. Yeah. So I think that's really cool. The other thing that I liked about it was with this one of the things I like, you can turn this little thing up here, which you can't see yet, but I'm going to fix that. And you can extend this up, which most cameras have that ability. I mean, tripods have that ability. This one is just a little bit nicer on the sense that you got this little thing that kind of makes it not as, I don't know what you call it, sticking out and everything. You also have the ability to turn this thing completely 90.
just like that. And when you get to this level, then you have a bubble that's sitting here.
That's pretty cool.
So you can sit here and get this perfectly leveled right there. And you can even get that one. So, you know, there you go. So I think that's pretty good. You can get that perfectly straight across, and your camera be sticking out sideways if you were using this for like a digital camera or something. And then you can just very easily bring it back up, and there you go, ready to go.
Yeah, a lot of times you think of, I mean, tripods normally used for video, but you could easily, like, I know with a pretty big DSLR lens or whatever, if you don't have a monopod that you're using, honestly, I wouldn't buy any other tripod to use with a DSLR except for a pistol grip nowadays. Because, like, you think about it, you cannot predict, and a lot of times, like, I shoot sports a lot.
You want to be able to move it and go, and then you want to let go and then take the picture.
Yeah, but with a standard tripod, we were talking about this earlier, like, you've got a ton of things you got to tighten, like, you got to move that handle, and it's really cumbersome. And honestly, this is a really good deal because I've seen some of these Sunpak, just the pistol grip heads, like, you know, just the top part of it, go for about $35.
And FYI, this is available from Best Buy as well as some other places for about $52.
Yeah.
It also has, what I like also, is that it has this little guy here, and you can use this and tighten this down. If I tighten it down the right way here.
Oh.
And there we go. So you get it out to its full extension, and now that's not closing back up on you.
Kick it or hit it or something, it's not gonna. I like that.
And you can like stick it up in the fan and. It also has these little indentions here for hooks, so you can hook sandbags.
Yeah, you see those. Yeah.
To hold sandbags down on there, which is really good if you want to add a lot of weight.
Yeah.
If you're wanting to, not have any kind of movement from the tripod at all.
So that tells you right there. I mean, this is pretty pro style photography.
Yeah, it's like prosumer kind of, stuff going on there. And I mean, it's pretty good.
So we will be using it. I mean, you won't see too much like action going on. I mean, it's probably just going to be holding the camera for the most part, but we will be using it in Atlanta. So rest assured that if you're watching our PB on the Go stream, that the new Sunpak 6600 tripod, PG tripod. I guess that means pistol grip. Will be holding the camera.
And awesome. Also, the one other thing that this has that I like, which most tripods have, is you can turn that down and now you can stab it into the
grass
ground.
Or whatever.
Yeah, and you can get some pretty good traction on that.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that they retract those. Sometimes like they'll get stuck or something if you get something up in there, and then you just got like this awkward point. And
you can also attach
like a
counterweight on there too.
Oh, okay.
So
pretty cool.
There's a lot of places that you can, put different things on there. So
yes. Alrighty. So we've got. I didn't really realize this the other day when I was bookmarking all these stores. They all have to do with either Android or Samsung, but that's how we do things around here. So our first story here is the Samsung Galaxy Note. This was introduced at, I think it is, hold on, let me get the right conference if I can't find it. Oh, well, I think it's like City or one of those Mobile World Congress or something like that. Anyway, and they announced the Galaxy Note, which was kind of interesting because everybody was waiting on the Galaxy S2 coming to, the U.S., and then also you've got, and we were expecting some new tablet launches, maybe with a new processor, with a new version of TouchWiz, and then they introduced this thing here. It's a 5.3-inch handset, they call it, with a stowaway pen for note-taking. It's got a 1280 by 800 display, which technically is 720p HD. So this is like one of the first devices with an HD screen, and it's got that AMOLED display that Jacob and I are both big fans of. 8-megapixel camera on the front or on the back. No, wait, hold on. Oh yeah, okay, never mind. 8-megapixel on the back, 2 on the front. 2,500 milliamp hour battery. So this is one of those things that they're kind of touting, hey, you're going to take this with you all day. And 2,500 milliamp hour battery, that's a pretty long time. Like my Inspire 4G, 1,200 milliamps. So, and if you push it, it could last a day. So, kind of a weird form factor. We haven't seen too many tablets. One of the first one that comes to mind is like the Galaxy Tab, but it's a 7-inch. I mean, what do you think about this? We've already got, you're looking at the Galaxy S2, which we're going to talk about in a minute. It's got a 4.5-inch screen, so, put another half-inch or so on there, and you've got this device. It's gingerbread. It runs LTE, HSPA+. This, if they make you have I would hope that they have a Wi-Fi version of this, because I can see, like, this would be kind of cool for school. And I know the iPad, all that stuff, but whatever. Like, this is kind of one of those things you could just kind of take into school, Kind of reminds me a little bit of a PDA, sort of. Kind of.
I mean, it is still a cell phone, so.
Yeah, I would almost rather this strikes me more as a tablet device than a cell phone.
Yeah, but I mean, it still has the ability. You can talk on it.
Yeah, but by the time that you have to sign a contract and everything, a lot of people don't want to have two contracts. I would hope that they haven't announced yet if they're going to have a Wi-Fi model, but I would hope that they will. They've also got some interesting features yet. If you want to play that video, there's no relevant sound, but they kind of show off what they call the S Pen apps, which kind of interface with their whatever their stuff is. So
open this up in here.
Oh yeah, our best viewing options. There we go. So here you go. It's just a little demo video that they've got. So, I mean, just like a lot of the newer devices, it's really thin. There's the HD screen. See, now this is something that they're really showing off, is there's minimal scrolling, because you have such a high resolution screen that, you can fit almost a full web page on there, which I think is pretty cool. And then there's the pen that they're talking about. So the main thing there, I mean, they've got their own custom stuff that's built into TouchWiz or whatever. I mean, honestly, with the right pen, like a, stylus, I mean, you can buy those. You can buy them anywhere. They have them for iPad and, whatever, any capacitive touchscreen. And with the right pen and the right software, I mean, if they release that app for Android or the skin, whatever allows it to interface with the Android, you could pretty much do that on any, Android device. But, I mean, I guess if Samsung came up with it, rightfully, you should, I don't fault them for making you buy that phone to be able to use that. But, I think it's kind of an awkward screen size. I don't think it'll do that well. I mean, if they sold it as a tablet, it would probably do, I mean, if they built this into, like, Jay, you've been wanting that, talking about the 7 to 8 inch screen size tablet, I mean, that'd be pretty cool. So, and honestly, tablet, like, for instance, my iPad, you can't take notes on an iPad. I mean, typing on the screen is a joke. And then, like, trying to write with your finger, you can't write notes on it. I mean, so...
I mean, I think it'd be kind of cool to be able to do that. And I'm assuming, this is just a big assumption, but I'm assuming that when you take the stylus out, that the screen becomes non-touch
I would hope
activated,
so, yeah.
and it's only stylus activated with, like, the RFID field, kind of
Something
deal.
like that, yeah.
I would hope. I hope it's not capacitive, and you're like, son of a what? Oh my God!
Like
what
your
am I
hand.
doing?
There was something. I think it's actually an iPad app that does this that we saw a while back. You can use whatever kind of capacitive stylus you want. It's got the little felt tip or whatever, but it kind of blocks off the edges. But then again, like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, I don't even think it made it into the App Store because obviously it like infringed. Like, they were kind of somehow using pressure. I don't know. Anyway, but. Step in the right direction, I guess. Note-taking on mobile devices still isn't where, I think we all thought it would be. Because, I mean, I would love to, instead of taking all these notes that I take, on pen and paper every day, just using some kind of tablet, but it's not there yet. And, hopefully this is a step in the right direction.
Yep.
Now, this isn't, I mean, we've been talking about this forever, Jeb. You've been really into this. But, hey, we now have an announcement. Galaxy S2 coming to T-Mobile, Sprint, and AT&T. Notably absent there, Verizon, kind of interesting. But then again, Verizon hasn't had other than the Droid, they haven't had, like, the best Android lineup. And I'm kind of surprised that AT&T was in on that. I mean, Sprint and T-Mobile always big, like they've always had the cool Android phones. Like the Evo was one of the first 1 gigahertz phone to come out.
But what I also find interesting with this is that AT&T is still getting a Galaxy S2, but it's the AT&T model. Like, it's a completely different phone in form factor wise. Like, I mean, you can even see it right there. It has tighter corners. See right there?
That's something, they did this earlier. Remember in the first Galaxy S device, they ended up calling them a different thing, which is, what they do in the US. They'll have the Fascinate.
It's called the Epic. The one that's coming to Sprint and T-Mobile is called the Epic.
And the Galaxy.
And then the other one that's just called the Galaxy S2 that's coming to AT&T.
Yeah.
So they're pushing the envelope a little more, because I'm thinking that AT&T, they don't want like bandwidth intense phones on their network still, because they're like, oh crap, we're running out of bandwidth. And you know what I'm saying?
I always call BS on that stuff anyway, but whatever.
But it's like, I mean, they you can tell they have a slightly bigger screen, slightly, whatever. I don't know the different specs solely, but you get like
4.3 inch
0.2 inches more on the Sprint and T-Mobile one.
And the interesting thing that strikes me is they're still saying it's the same resolution, which is kind of weird, having the 0.2 extra inches or whatever. HD like quality, I think that's pretty funny considering that the other one was HD. Honestly, Carlos mentioned this, like they've had this since like April, or for like 4 or 5 months in the UK. I mean, it's just been, this always happens in the US. International phones come out, and then like 3 or 4 or 5 months later, it takes AT&T, takes Sprint. They have to sign the contracts and get everything worked out. Make sure that it adheres to their standards, get all their bloatware installed. They have to do all this stuff. But it's a dual core? Is it a dual core 1 gigahertz? I think it's a 1 gigahertz phone. And honestly, I played with the Atrix, and I played with a couple other dual core phones. I think it's more the software that wasn't impressive, but they seem to they're not as responsive as you think they should be, So it's a dual 1.2 gigahertz phone, so that's pretty quick. Yeah. And they're saying 4G, of course. T-Mobile and Sprint actually have,
And it's actually a 4.52 inch screen.
Oh, okay. Now I looked at the Infuse, which is also on AT&T. And it's a 4.5 inch screen. It's a single core 1.2 gigahertz. So, I mean, it looks a lot like this, and I was actually thinking about getting it. That 4.5 inch screen, I played with it in just Best Buy and stuff. It was almost too big to me. But then again, I said that about the 4.3 inch screen. I got it, and I loved it. So, I don't know. So, you still thinking that you're going to, that you're interested? I know you're saying, they still haven't put it, as of now, I cannot find a date on this website that we're looking at. So,
well, I personally, I guess I jumped on the Evo just for the bigger screen and stuff, but I personally like this one because of the OLED screen and stuff.
Yeah, let me tell you.
Because
this thing right here, the Nexus S, I mean, this is old hardware. This thing's been out for 6-8 months. It's only been out since the summer on AT&T, but of course AT&T will last carrier to get it. OLED screen. I got 15 hours or 16 hours worth of battery life. I mean, this has got not, standard battery, whatever.
And like they're saying here on the specs, up to 8.7 hours of continuous talk time.
Yeah,
you can talk on it for 8.7 hours on the Samsung Galaxy S2. And, I mean, I think it's pretty good.
It's pretty interesting, but then again, you look at the specs, I'm expecting, late fall, right around Christmas time, we'll probably have 4 or 5 devices that have these specs. I mean, it's the first one to have them right now, but It definitely is interesting, and if you're on AT&T, Sprint, or T-Mobile, why
and it's
not?
got an 8 megapixel camera on the back.
I think it's got 1080p video recording. You know,
Yeah.
all the specs that you look at for an Android phone. Like, if you're buying an Android phone when this comes out, or if you're looking to buy one right now, you better hold off if you're on AT&T, Sprint, or whatever, because this is like when this comes out, unless something else slides under the table, this is going to be the best Android phone you can get. So
yeah, and it has a 2 megapixel front facing camera.
that's pretty big.
Which is they're normally like 1.3.
Yeah, I think.
So I mean
think
that's a little bit higher than most of them, but
I mean, it's nice hardware.
and it still has 4G with Sprint and all that. So
yeah. So, and I think there was an issue. I think the AT&T one may have NFC. I mean, this Nexus S has had it. I tried it out once on the little pamphlet that they give you with the Nexus S box, and I never used it again because honestly, nobody's using it. So, I mean, it's interesting technology. Nobody's using it right now, so it's kind of useless.
Yeah.
But anyway, are you gonna say something? Oh, okay. Let's move on to a story that came through via Gadget. You know, Jet, we've talked about this. Hadn't done a Tech Weekly in a while, so we hadn't really covered the latest rumor. You know, not only rumors but also the patent issues. You know, we were talking a lot about Apple and Google and everybody getting into the patent issues. Originally, they did this with it was like all European countries with HTC. They tried to do it. It didn't pass through, you know, all the different courts it had to go through. Apple actually won an injunction against Samsung in Germany, and it was required that the Galaxy Tab 7.7, which is the new device that we were looking at, was pulled from the IFA, which was the new trade show or whatever. And pretty soon, if this stays up, I mean, they're going to pull a lot of the Samsung devices from stores. Just because of this patent issue, you know, because Samsung, they claim. Now, tell me this. Does this look anything like an iPad? I mean, it's 7.7 inches, first of all. I mean, it's been proven kind of hard not to make a device that looks like an iPad. I mean, an iPad's a 10-inch glass
that's
screen.
slightly rectangular and has a display on the middle of it. Oh, you're copying our iPad.
Exactly.
Like, no, Apple, you copied other people's stuff.
Yeah. You know,
so, I don't know.
this is another one of those classic issues. Why don't you just innovate? Why don't you just make something better than this? You know?
See, that's the thing is that they're worried that they see the market coming up on them, and they go, oh, crap, we're actually going to have to start competing again, not just dominating the market on things. And they're like, this sucks because now we actually have to do something about it. And they don't like that, so they're just going to start suing everybody so they don't have to improve their... They can set their own levels for how good a quality their stuff is, and they don't have to worry about anybody else because they're just going to sue anybody that gets near them.
And I think it's kind of interesting that all this stuff is going down right now because some of the latest rumors have said that Apple's not going to have an iPad ready until early 2012. So maybe like a January, February launch like the original one was, instead of, you know, some people are looking at September, like around the iPad or the iPhone release, because they kind of need to square up the iOS stuff or whatever. I mean, that's crazy. So, honestly, Apple, this is not what we want to see, but, you know, I can't stop them. Jay can't stop them, so you never know. All right, so our final story here is was actually a really big scoop from scoop from MG Siegler over at TechCrunch. He posted an article that said, "I have seen the new Amazon Kindle tablet, and I've played with it, and it exists." So he played with like a test version. He didn't get any pictures, which I thought was interesting, but you know, it was actually directly from, you know, he went to Amazon's campus. Like, it wasn't a leak or anything. He was actually invited there to play with it. So he says that it's a 7-inch tablet, backlit LCD, you know, got similar to the BlackBerry Playbook, you know, $250, and he said it's going to be about $250, and he says that they're going to release it in November. And by the way, he said, you know, some of the things are still kind of, you know, iffy with the UI and stuff, but he's played with it. He said it's a very heavily modded version of Android. He thinks it's 2.3. He wasn't sure if it was, or obviously if it was 2.3, it wasn't honeycomb, but but I mean, Jet, what do you think about this? They said it would probably be a Wi-Fi only device, 3G coming later.
And FYI, the picture you just saw up there is not a picture of it. It's the BlackBerry Rim that is
Got like some
the
Amazon
playbook
logos. Yeah.
with Amazon tattooed on the side of it. I mean, it's just another one in the ocean of tablets, really, to me. I mean, I'm glad that they're coming out with better Kindles and stuff like that.
Well, see,
And the
this is what's
$250
confusing.
price range is halfway decent.
Yeah.
But it is backlit. I mean, to get any halfway decent battery life out of it, you're going to need to go organic, or you're not going to get that good of battery life.
And he did say that he thinks that they're using only two finger touch, not 10
yeah, they're
finger.
going to make it as cheap as possible. That's why it's $250.
Yeah,
they're not going to put OLED screen in there. They're not going to put multi-touch. You know, it's going to be probably a resistive screen. You know,
he said it was capacitive at least. So, but still, you know, you can get a bad capacitive screen if you think about it.
But it's, you know, it's going to be what it is. So, you know, if you're going to be using it to read books, I don't know. To me, I kind of like Amazon's trying to do the whole like get in the tablet market, but at the same time they're wanting to be at the very, very, very bottom end of it. Like they're like, hey, you can read our books on our tablet. You can play Angry Birds on there too, but you can read our books on our tablet.
Yeah. And that's something a lot of people have pointed out, because Apple obviously has the infrastructure. If you want to buy a book, you could buy it from Apple. If you want to buy a song, you could buy it from Apple. In fact, you know, there's really no other option if you're on an iPad. But if you're on Android, you know, you got the Amazon store, you got all this stuff, and a lot of people were saying, hey, it's going to ship with all these Amazon. I mean, if you go through the Android market right now, you search for Amazon, there's probably 15 apps that Amazon has either put out indirectly that's not actually branded Amazon, but it's like made by Amazon, you know, whatever. So, you know, they do have the infrastructure, obviously. I mean, you got your Amazon Prime streaming right now. They have an infrastructure, obviously Kindle being the biggest one. They've got the video streaming library, the song streaming, all that stuff. I mean, it kind of feels like, especially, this is what keyed me off, especially when they had their own Android app store. That's what, I mean, this literally this shows me they're going to take a version of Android, one of the later versions, make it their own, probably not even have the market on there, and then just ship it with the Amazon App Store, you know?
To where they get 100% of all the sales.
Yeah.
Which is understandable because it's their device, you know what I mean?
But at the same time, from an Android perspective, you know, you and I hating all that stuff. I mean,
well, yeah, they're starting to lock it down. People are trying to lock it down, their own custom little niche there, so.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting price point. I told Jeb I may get one if it was $250. I mean, right now, if you went out tried to buy an Android tablet, only thing you could buy is a Nook Color. And that's not even an Android tablet unless you put CyanogenMod on it. So, I mean, this is going to be like an Android tablet.
Well, I mean, and you can get Android tablets, but you know, have a Kindle app that's free.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying.
But yeah.
You know. So, you know, I don't know. If it's a good, like, this will, if they're taking the point like Jeb said, if it's going to be $250 worth, you know, like, for instance, if it's going to be half the quality of an iPad, it's not going to be worth it, you know? Like, it's just going to be crap. You won't be able to use it. Like, it, you know, it's not responsive. I mean, who would buy it, you know? So, I don't know. I guess that pretty much does it for this episode of Gadget Gurus. Like Jeb said, we will be broadcasting live from Atlanta bright and early this coming Saturday, September 10th, I believe it is. Live.pbcasttv is where you can find that. We will be branding it as PB on the go. Jeb, sorry, got
PB2 Go.
Oh, PB2 Go. See, I haven't even done any research about that. But Jeb has our logos, our lower thirds, and everything. And if you're in the Atlanta area, I know a lot of our viewers who hang out in the live chat are like
not in the Atlanta area,
not even in the U.S. So, but I know I'm gonna kind of push it. I know a couple people in Atlanta, like the guy that sent me those stickers. He said that he might come down and see us. And I think we're going to be able to set up a guest mic, so if anybody shows up, they could get on there.
Give a little shout out.
Yeah.
Get your word out there.
And it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Maker Faire 2011, Mini Maker Faire 2011. I think it's, let me see if I can find it. It's ATL Mini. Is it? Hold on. I'll find it later. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/, that Nick Jones, and nickjones.me is my blog, and gplus.to/Nick Jones is Google Plus. Thank you to everyone who has added me on Google Plus. Follow Jacob on Twitter, twitter.com/freakinghuge, FREAKINHUGE. And then you can follow his blog, jacob.roberts.me, and jacob.roberts.me/plus is his.
Oh, look, they got a little flag.
I'm looking at. Yeah, that was weird. Like, Google was so weird about that kind of stuff.
They're like, yeah, we're not going to do a whole logo. We're just going to do a little logo below the logo.
And here's the website for you. It's makerfairatl.com. And fair is with an E, not just FAIR. And 4 days, 14 hours, 22 minutes, and 37 seconds until the start time. So we'll be there live. We'll have a little tent and all kinds of stuff set up. Make sure to follow our Twitter account, twitter.com/pbcasttv, and pbcasttv.com is where you can get all that information.
Yay.
So, yeah. For anyone who usually watches Tech Weekly Live, it will span through the Tech Weekly time. We won't actually be doing a Tech Weekly show, but we'll have content during that time.
Yeah,
so
we're going to be there probably from 10 to 5.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. So it's going to be awesome, and if you're there, we'll hope to see you there. So, yeah. Alrighty. I guess that does it for this episode. So, until next time, I'm Nick Jones.
I'm Jacob Roberts.
This has been another episode of Gadget.
Oh, yeah.